guys, how you going? Just give it a minute and see if anyone comes on. Sorry, let me just fix this. Okay. Hey, Jenny. How are you? Hello, Linda. My hair's sticking out. It's driving me insane. I'll just give it another minute or so, girls, and see who else comes on. Hello, Faith. Sorry, I'm just going to get a hair tie, girls. Alright. Yeah, it's driving me insane. I'm going to cut it later. Look at it. Fuck. Oh well. Hey, Sherry. Alright, I gotta put my glasses on so I can see. I broke my good glasses, so these are the only ones I could find. The future is very good, thank you. So, Saturday morning here, 11:30 in the morning. Alright, well, we might make a start in a minute. We're going to be looking at crystal grids today. Hey, Hayley. Yeah, I like them too. They're not the best, but they're good. 10 p.m, wow. Shit, sorry it's so late, Linda. Alright, I'm going to actually split this into two lives. So I'm going to give you most of the theory, or all of the theory today on crystal grids, and then next month we'll actually make, I reckon, 4 grids. I've set one and we'll talk about that later, but you guys can help set the other 3. So we'll talk about that at the end. Oh, that's good, Linda. Man, I used to be, I'm not now. Too old. I like my sleep. Well, I probably get about 6 hours a night. I go to bed early and then wake up about 2 o'clock in the morning, so. Alright. So, I hope that's okay that we split it into 2. It's just, it's huge. And I've, typed all the notes up, so I'll put them into Google Classroom for you, so you don't have to take notes if you don't want to. Because they're all my notes. Everything I say will basically be in. I'll put it into Google Classroom for you. All right, so like I said, this bit's a fair bit of theory. So let's get through it so we can get to the exciting stuff. We will, I will show you a grid at the end that I've done, and then we'll talk about what kind of grids you would like to set up for the next one. All right, so crystal grids, what are they? Crystal grids are a shape made from crystals that amplify each other to support and enhance something in a person's life. Okay, does that make sense? Hey Story. Crystal grids are a powerful way to utilise and amplify a crystal's vast properties and energies. They can be constructed simply or really complex. It depends on you and what you want to, how you want to set it up, what you want to achieve, what you're going to use. But the foundations of the grid are the same. Each type of grid has specific points of energy that are connected through invisible lines of energy. All right. Grids will create a potent energy vortex. These vortexes will amplify the crystal energy as well as constantly charging each other and the crystals in the grid, as well as your intentions as well. And we'll talk more about your intentions and things later. The grid represents a community of compatible and connected energies. So these energies, these compatible energies, can be connected, through the shapes found in sacred geometry, Feng Shui, Bagu, the energy map, or they can be created by the person that's making the grid. Combining the energies of different crystals according to the patterns of life allows for the creation of crystal grids to be used for virtually any purpose. So you can use them for things as abundance, love, to get rid of negative energy, manifesting a calm and peaceful environment, manifesting basically anything that you want or need in life. Whatever you want to draw into your life, adding crystals to a grid can really enhance its effectiveness and its power. Where the crystals are placed and what crystals are used depends on what type of grid you use and what your intentions are. Alright, am I making sense so far? Okay, any questions or anything? Because I want to go on next to talk a little bit about the crystals and talk about their energy lattices, which is the internal structures of the crystals, because they're quite important things to sort of have a background knowledge on. You're all very quiet. Are there any questions or anything so far? Shall I keep prattling on? Yeah? Alright. Just interrupt if you want. If you've got a question or you want to say anything, please just type it in. Alright, so there are 6 secret energy structures of crystals. And understanding the energy matrices or lattices, and that's what I'm going to call them, the energy lattices, can help us when selecting and arranging and using crystals effectively on a grid. So let's look at those 6 structures. Thank you, Sherry. Alright, and I've got some pictures in this book. This book is a really good book. I've got it typed in the notes. So if you access Google Classroom, it's in there, the book and the author and everything. Let me find the pictures so we can talk about them. All right. So first, this guy talks about crystals known as seekers, and they're crystals that form the hexagonal crystal structure, kind of like that one. Okay. These crystals help us achieve what we desire. They point the way forward, aim our energies and help us find what we seek. They help us discover new opportunities and set out to help achieve new goals. They're known as the Fresh Start crystals, the crystals of new beginnings and new discoveries. And they're used as pointers, directors and compasses, and bring the energy of adventure and discovery into our grids. When we need help finding new relationships, new love, new capabilities, new experiences, or new ways of living, seeker crystals are the ones that we would use. Now, some of the seeker crystals are your crystals like agate, amethyst, apatite, aquamarine, atlantisite, aventurine, bismuth, calcite, carnelian. See you guys, have a good day. Carnelian, chalcedony, chrysoprase, cinnabar, citrine, covalite, dioptase, emerald, golden beryl, hawk's eye, heliodor, hematite, jasper, Lemurian seed crystal, mookaite, morganite, onyx, quartz, rhodochrosite, ruby, sapphire, sardonyx, smithsonite, sugarlight, tiger's eye, tourmaline, and euconite, just to name a few. All right, and like I said, all these are in my notes, so it's a lot to take in, so you can reread it and digest it. So they're what we'd call our seeker crystals, and we'll talk more about what they do later on in the grids. The next one are the enhancers, and they're the isometric crystal systems. And again, we're talking about the inner structure of the crystal. Can you see that? So, I got my finger over it. Hold on. Hairs in there. So that's the cube kind of structure inside the crystal. Or its internal structure. These crystals help us focus on self-improvement and help to focus and enhance energies needed to produce the actions we need to improve. So as humans, we strive to enhance what we possess or we value in our life. Oh, that's all right, Jenny, no worries. And yeah, and Sherry, we're going to need some crystals to set the first grid in particular next thing. So, and I'm going to give them at the end of the live, so you've got a few weeks to try and gather them if you don't have them, because we need 13 stones. I think it's 13. All right, we'll talk about that later. All right, so the enhancers. We strive to enhance what we possess or value in our lives. If we're building a crystal grid to improve some part of our life, we need to use the crystals from the isometric crystal system. These are the building block crystals that help us focus our efforts to build onto our success. All right. And they include crystals like almandine, bornite, cuprite, fluorite, galena, lapis lazuli, lazurite, magnetite, peacock ore, pyrite, pyrope, sodalite, spinel, sulfur, and that's it. Well, that's some of them. Okay. So they're our isometric crystals. The next one's he calls the Guardians, and they're the crystals that form the monoclinic crystal. Right, so that diamond shape in there. When we want to protect ourselves and our possessions from harm or loss, we need to use the Guardian crystals. These crystals help to protect in both the physical and the spiritual world, and help to focus our energies on protecting what is dear to us. Some of the monoclinic crystals include alabaster, azurite, charoite, chrysocolla, creedite, diopside, epidote, fuchsite, gypsum, howlite, jade, kunzite, lepidolite, malachite, muscovite, bluestone, desert rose gypsum, selenite, serpentine, silver, and spirit quartz. The next ones are dispellers. Hey, Kim. They're the orthorhombic crystal system. And they kind of go like that. Okay. And remember, we're talking about the internal structures of the crystal. So these dispeller crystals are used to get rid of physical pain, discomfort, injury, illness or disease, mental and spiritual problems. And we use dispeller crystals when we want to get something unpleasant out of our lives. Some of the dispeller crystals include things like, or crystals like, aragonite, barite, bronzite, celestite, chrysoberyl, iolite, peridot, prehnite, tanzanite, topaz, variscite, and zoisite. Alright, so they're the dispellers. The next ones are what we call barriers. Barriers. That's no worries, Kim. You can catch what you've missed on the replay if you want to. But like I said before, all the notes will be in Google Classroom, so you can access them in there too. The next ones are called barriers, and they're a triclinic crystal system. Let me find that picture. So they're kind of like that in the insides, the structure. When we need to keep barriers to keep those things we don't want out of our lives. We all know that. We all do that. They can aid us in preventing mishaps in our life and keep us free from harm. Barriers are used, or barrier crystals are used in a similar way to the Guardian crystals, but the difference is the focus. Guardians allow us to focus on protecting something we value, so it's an inward focus, whereas the barrier crystals are externally focused. They're keeping things out of our lives. Okay. For example, we could use a Guardian crystal to guard our health, but we could use a barrier crystal to keep us from getting sick. Does that make sense? So some of the barrier crystals include things like amazonite, kyanite, labradorite, larimar, moonstone, rhodonite, sunstone, and turquoise. And then we have our what we call attractors. They're a tetragonal crystal system. Let me find that. Okay, tetragonal. And although these tetragonal crystals aren't directly related to a fundamental human need. They provide us with the capacity of increasing the power of the crystals on our grid. They help us achieve such things as gaining recognition, winning friends, or attracting wealth. They have a passive energy like a magnet, and when nothing is around to be attracted, the energy of the magnet seems to be gone. It's energized only when something around it is around it to attract to it. God, they seem to have attractors seem to have a weighting element to their energy. If nothing comes along, then attractors don't seem to have much power. That's why we use them with seeker crystals. The seekers help to get us what we need, and the attractor's power can be applied to it. Hey Gina, no worries. Okay, so we don't just use attractors or attractor crystals in our grid, because we could be waiting a long time for our desired outcome if we're just relying on those attractor crystals. We use them with seeker crystals, and the outcomes achieved more quickly. So some attractor crystals, oh my God, I've messed up this grid. Some attractor crystals include crystals like, I'm gonna not get that, chalcopyrite, rutile quartz, vesuvianite, oh my God, they're in the notes, girls, vesuvianite and zircon. Alright, so they're the main 6, and we also have a group that's classified as not crystalline, and they are some of your crystals like amber, moldavite, obsidian, and tektite. Okay, all right. Now, I know that seems like a lot of information and probably useless at the moment, but it will make sense later on, I hope. So I want to look a little bit at grid designs now. Yes, you can definitely make your own pattern, Kim. Definitely. Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a bit further down. Yes, you would think they'd make some of these names bloody easier, wouldn't you? Some of them are ridiculous. Anyway, so crystal designs, or grid designs, Our grids are built using the patterns of life, or sacred geometry, and there are 3 shapes that make up the patterns for 3 basic shapes that make up the patterns for sacred geometry: the circle, the square, and the triangle. And your grid designs will be based around these 3 shapes, or one of these 3 shapes. Later on, we'll use the triangle to make our healing grid that we're going to make, and it'll be in the shape of a 6-sided star, or the Star of David. That's the particular pattern or grid that we're going to use later for that one. So your grid designs will vary. There are, and I can show you some. I'll just put this down. Grid designs like, or just even the circle. The circle's a grid design. On itself, there's there's things like this that you can make into a grid design. There's the triple circle. There's the flower. Sorry, that one. And these get really in depth with the crystals that you'll use and the amount that you'll use too. You need a lot. Yeah, even like shapes like that. So there's some of your designs, and that's the one we'll focus on, that Star of David shape later. There's also like these ones as well. These fun shapes, your cross shapes, Celtic cross, that you can make your grid designs in. And we'll do more grid designs next live. We'll do 4 different grid designs and 4 different intentions. Okay, I hope that's okay with everyone. So along with a bit of a background knowledge in the grid designs that you want to use, you also need to have a little bit of background knowledge in colour and the properties of colours, because colours will play an important part in your grid design when you're choosing the crystals to go with your intent. Okay. One of the components of choosing your crystals will be their colour. Okay, that's so just one component. Another component will be the compatibility of its energies to your intention. Oh, cool. I like that, Cherry. All right, so let's take a little look at the grid and its elements. So, each component or element of the grid has a purpose, and the first part is the path. Your grid design establishes the pathways where the energy flows through the grid. Okay, so if you're making your own grid, that's an important thing to keep in mind, that the design establishes the pathways where the energy will flow through your grid. And the path is set by the grid design. So after the path, we have the focus stone. And the focus stone is the crystal that is located usually in the centre of the grid or at the selected focus of power of your grid. Its primary focus is to collect the universal life force and channel it through the grid via the path. Okay. We choose focus stones and crystals based on their ability to amplify the universal life force for a specific purpose, for our intention. Okay. The focus stone is the central support element of a crystal grid. Okay, so when we're choosing that focus stone, need to put a lot of thought and research, I guess, into it to make sure that its energies match your intention. All right. So going back to what we were talking about, the structures of the stones, we use the seeker stones in a grid as focus stones to help us find something we do not possess but we desire, and we use enhancer stones or crystals to add more desirable elements to our lives. And we can use the guardians as focus stones on grids for protection, and the dispellers and barrier crystals are used only on a grid when you've got a need for a strong protection focus. Okay. So the next ones So that was the focus stone. The next ones are the way stones. And they're the next on the energy path of the grid. And their work is similar to a pump in a water system. Water flows down a pipe, but if a pump is added, it can amplify and modify the flow. Waystones do exactly that. They amplify and further modify the universal energy flowing in the paths of the grid. Okay. Waystones should have a crystal energy lattice that is compatible with the focus stone. So when you're choosing your focus stone and your way stones, you're looking for that compatible energy that matches your intention. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because that will keep your energy flow consistent and as well as harmonious throughout. Here we have much more colour influence on the grid, sorry. So what I was talking about, having that bit of colour background knowledge, that's where that will come in handy, because you'll be picking your waystones for the energy that matches your intention, as well as colours that might match that intention too. Yeah, okay, so they're your waystones. And they're, we'll talk about that later when you're setting your grid, which ones you place first and the order in which they get laid down. And then the next one is called the desire stones. And they're the outermost stones on the crystal grid. They represent the end goal that the grid is constructed to produce. Okay, so they represent your intention. The selection of your desire stones are based on the intention of the grid, and they're often the crystals that would be used alone to accomplish your goal or intention. So ones that you might just carry in your pocket, or wear on your neck, or in jewellery, just for a specific intention that you wanted to set. But you'll be actually using multiple of that same stone. By using the multiples of the crystal, and having them fed with focused and amplified energy, it gives them much more energy to accomplish your or their purpose than just a single crystal would. I'm waffling, but I hope that makes sense. All right. So they're your main parts of the grid, but then we have things like the perimeter, and the perimeter is used to ensure that negative energies don't affect the ability of your grid. So they don't affect the ability of the grid to focus and amplify that universal life force energy that we want to put out. It's not part of your grid design, and it's not actually placed on your grid. It's placed around the perimeter of your grid. So it's not actually, that's why it's called the perimeter stones or crystals. It's not part of your grid. It's just to add extra protection. And you don't have to put it there, but I wanted to add it in so you know that you can if you want extra protection. Sorry, I'm moved down too far. So there are, the perimeter is a grouping of stones or crystals that serve to protect the grid from any outside negative influences or ill will that might be coming. your way. We can use barrier crystals to repel ill will and negative energy, and dispeller crystals to dispel whatever negative energy is already present. And when you're using the dispeller and the barrier crystals, use an even amount of each throughout your grid, and alternate them around your grid as well. So you could have I don't know, if you're doing the Star of David, you could have a dispeller, a barrier, a dispeller, a barrier, a dispeller, a barrier around your grid. The next part is the next part of the grid is what we call the activation wand, and that's just your wand, or you can also just use a quartz quartz terminator point as well, and it's like, it's not very big at all. Or you could use your wand. It doesn't have to be a crystal wand, it can be any kind of wand, your wand, whatever you use. Crystal grids work best when they're activated, and that's why we use the wand to activate and connect the energies through the path, through the focus stone and also the way stones and the desire stones. So we're activating the whole grid, all of the crystals together. The movement or your wand is guided by your intentions, and you can just let your subconscious, like mind or your intuition, take control of that wand to guide it, to connect the energy flows around your grid. The movements to activate will quite possibly be different depending on, hey Christy, depending on what grid layout you're actually using as well. And I'll show you when I activate the grid that I've set up. Well, I had set up because I've just destroyed it, so we'll reset it up together. All right, and the last thing is with your grid is, or components of your grids, is that you can add other elements to your grid as well. So you can add things like visual aids, photos, symbols, even affirmations, incense, herbs, candles, all things that align with your intention. So if you're, say your intention is, I want to have a new car in the next 3 months, you might want to add a picture of the car that you want. Be specific, put the colour, put everything that you want, okay, in that car, put that photo as part of your grid. Alright, so they're the components of a grid. Are there any questions? So I don't know, it's a lot to take in, just me blabbing and you listening. But like I said, I'll put the notes in Classroom, and you can access them and reread them and try and make some sense of it, okay? And maybe you can even try this grid after, if you've got some time, just so you can get a feel for it and the elements that are part of the grid, especially for the next live when we're making our own grids. So I just wanted to talk about some things to keep in mind when you're preparing to make your crystal grids, and then we'll get into the steps of doing it. So there are loads of grid patterns out there on the internet and in books and everywhere. I would recommend that trying different ones, making different grids for different intentions with different patterns, and see what one works best for you, or what ones you might, you might find different patterns work well for different intentions. Always work with cleansed and charged crystals, and make sure you've done your research on what crystals go best with your intention, and keeping in mind the shape and the colour as well, and yeah, as well as the properties of the crystal. Now, sometimes when you're setting up a grid, can you make one grid for two different purposes? You can, Kim. You can, yeah, you definitely could do that. It would be matching, because to me that's kind of two intentions, self-love and healing. Although you do need to have both for healing. You need to love yourself to be able to heal as well. You'd have to match the crystal. So you'd be using things like rose quartz, definitely clear quartz. Could maybe even use amethyst. So they're all types of different quartzes anyway. So yeah, you could do that, or you could actually set up two different grids, one as a healing for a specific purpose of healing or ailment, and the other one specifically for self-love. Does that make sense? I guess what I'm trying to say is, yes, you can. You can do it in just one grid, or you can actually make two. And when you're talking about making healing grids, healing is so wide. It's just broad. It's out there. Like, and what do you want to heal? What part of you is it, that you want to heal? Is it a specific ailment, or is it oh God, what am I trying to say? Is it focused on opening, like if you've if you want to unblock your chakras and things like that, if you're having a few, if you've got a few blockages in your different chakras, I forgot what the hell I was talking about then. Then I've lost it. I'm talking about healing, I know that. And it's just so broad. So I think what I'm trying to say is be specific. What are you trying to heal? What is it you want to heal? Does that make sense? I hope so, Kim. So yeah, when you're setting them up, you also need to think about finding a place where it won't be disturbed or bumped or moved. Because once it's set up and activated, its energies will continue to amplify until you dismantle it, or you bump it, or you move it. Then that will disrupt the energy flow of the crystals. So you will actually need to reset it then. So try, when you're setting it up, put it someplace where you know it's not going to get disturbed or bumped and moved or touched by others. Exactly, Lisa. Yeah, thank you. Physical, spiritual, emotional, or spiritual. Yep. Beautifully said. Thank you. Which brings me on to the next point when you're setting up and thinking about setting up a grid is your intention. Please make sure it is specific and clear. try and hone into what it is that you actually want to achieve or receive or get rid of. Okay. All right. So let's look at constructing a grid and the steps that you need to go through. And they are sort of in order. So it's good to kind of follow them that way. Especially when you first start making new grids, it's a good way just to get in, get familiar with them. All right, so when you're constructing a grid, the first step is to set your intention and remember to be specific. Okay, and this book, he talks, or they talk a bit about. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so determine your purpose. And he's saying things like being specific. So things like, I want to be happy all the time, I want a lot of money, I want to be famous, and I want to be skinny. They're not really specific. And they're not sort of things that you can measure as to whether you've achieved. I mean, how can you be happy all the time? Life is life, and it's just not going to happen. So, so be specific in what kind of happiness do you want, you know. And he's just got some examples here, like being specific, like, I would like to get an A on my algebra final. I'd like my mother to have a great birthday party. I want to have enough money to put a down payment on a new car. I want to get along better with my mother in the next few months. So it's being specific and putting a timeline on it as well. How long you want that to be achievable within. Does that make sense? Yeah? All right, so that's step 1, set your intention. Step 2 is to select your grid design. And like I said, do some research, have a look around. I think it's good to maybe try a few grid designs, get comfortable with that sort of layout, with those layouts, and then have a go at setting your own, making your own for your own intentions. Step 3 is to select any visuals that you want to add, so photos, herbs, whatever else you want to add to it, candle. Yes, definitely, Sherry, just like your spell work. Because it is a kind of spell. It is a spell. You're setting intentions, that's a spell. So be clear and concise when setting a grid and the intent behind it. Most definitely. Again, well said, Sherry. Thank you. So, step 1, set your intention. Step 2, select the grid. Step 3, choose any visuals that you might want. Step 4 is then to select your focus stone. And remember, that's that main stone that will sit in the middle or at the point of the most energy in your grid. Step 5 is to select your waystones. And then step 6 is to select your desire stones that coordinate with that or match your intention. So all these stones, your focus stone, your waystones, and your desire stones should all have the energy that matches your intention. Okay. Hey, Sarah. And then step 7 is to select the location to set up your grid. And remember, I mentioned sort of somewhere that it's not going to be bumped and knocked and touched, because every time it's moved, you'll have to reactivate it, reset it up, reactivate it. No worries, Sarah. So step 8 is to prepare your crystals, cleanse them, charge them, and you could also set your intention, but when you place them on the grid, individually you'll be setting that intention into them as well. So you can do that in your preparation, set an intention with them, or you can do it as part of setting up the grid. Step 9 is to actually assemble your grid, and step 10, the last step, is to activate the grid, and that's where you use your wand or your quartz point to activate it. Now, I haven't gone into much in depth in those, but I have the desire, like I've talked about what the desire stones and all that are, so you can go back and look at that when you've got the notes, and I hope that'll make some sense to you. But I haven't gone into a lot of detail because I don't think they actually need it. That, like, select your location for your grid, that's pretty self-explanatory. Where are you going to put it? But if you have any questions or anything comes up that you want help with, if you have a go at setting them up, just send me a message. That's fine, and we'll work through it together. Okay. So, what time is it? Yeah, so I've nearly been on an hour. Let's set up a healing grid together, all right? I did have it set up, but I've sat on the table and stuffed it, so... Oh, shut up. So, the first thing is, well, for this, and I've already done all this, so, is to set your intention. And my intention is to clear my chakra points of any negative energies and replace them with positive healing energy. Okay, so that's my intention. And I'm focusing on my chakra points. Step 2, select the grid design. And we're actually going to do this in the, like I said, the 6-sided star, the Star of David. Because, sorry, I'm just trying to read these. Laser quartz be good. Yes, definitely. Laser quartz would be good as your activator. Most definitely. Definitely do that, Sherry. That's why I put them up there, so you can print them off and add them to, yeah, whatever. Just keep them. They're always good to have sometimes. So the Star of David, I use this one a lot in my healing grids because it's a very stable and relaxing energy pattern. Oh shit, sorry. And it brings in the Reiki healing energy, so it's perfect for healing ourselves, that kind of grid. So I've selected the grid for us. Select any visuals that you may want to add. So I'm going to take you off here now. Oh, hold on. Okay. Let me, oh, for God's sake, I've lost all the crystals. One goes there. Oh my God, I'm sorry, girls. All right, so for this, I'm actually using, so for my, oh, hold on, I was going to show you I've got a blue candle, so I'm going to light that, and that'll be part of my visuals while I sit, because this grid is actually, I should have said that, is one that you're going to sit in. So you'd set it up on your floor or your bed or somewhere where you're comfortable to be able to sit in it for as long as you feel you need to. So I've got a blue candle for healing. I've also got this gorgeous little kyanite dragonfly. So he's got kyanite on his wings. And I chose that because of the kyanite, just as a little bit of extra. Because my focus stone that I've chosen for my intention, which, what's my intention? What is my intention? I've totally lost the plot now. Is to unblock my chakras. So get rid of that negative energy in my chakras and replace it with positive healing energy. Okay? So why I've chosen the blue kyanite is because kyanite, and you can see in its structure, it's very flowing. And kyanite is really good to get that flow of energy through our body. So it'll, what am I trying to say? Kyanite helps your energy flow, basically. It keeps it even, helps it flow evenly throughout your body. And that's what I want to achieve. I want that energy flow through my body. I want the negative energy out, and I want it replaced with healing energy, positive healing energy. So my focus stone, and I'm going to sit that in the middle. Let me just get all these of where I'm going to set up my grid. Hold on, I've lost crystals everywhere. All right, so I'm going to take you down. And swing you around. Get rid of my notes. All right, so focus stone in the middle of the grid. Okay, the next ones will be my waystones, and I'm using clear quartz for my waystones, and I've got different sizes. I've got two sort of bigger ones that I'm going to use for the points, the top and bottom point, and I've got four smaller quartz that I'm going to use for the outer points of the star. And when you're placing each crystal, you're saying that intention as you're placing them. Now, placing, especially when you're using points, quartz points, or any kind of points, you place the point where you feel most comfortable. So it could be pointing out, it could be pointing in. That's purely up to you. Okay, I actually love or like to set up, when I'm setting up a grid, I'll point them in opposite directions. So that's my top stone. And that points out. So my next side point I'll put the little crystal there. Sorry, I've got to put them in a bit because I need room to place the crystal after it. So that one's pointing in. The next one would point out. And then the bottom one would point in. The next side one would point out. And the last one would point in. Okay. I'm sort of setting them up so I don't know if you can see them very well. The dark cloth doesn't help. Now, the next stones. Hey, Dale. Hey, Dale. Oh. Sorry, the next stones, which are our desire stones, I'm actually going to be using stones that I have collected from two different places. These ones come from the Greek island Kythera, and these ones come from an island in Queensland, Coochiemudlo Island it's called, and both these islands have great healing properties in them. They're renowned and used for healing ceremonies and stuff, especially Coochiemudlo with the Aboriginal people. They do a lot of healing rituals and things on the island. And so these are just 3 stones that I've collected from visits that I've been there, and I'm actually going to place them in my grid because I want that healing energy. Okay, so let me see what I've got here. Do the waste stones or the as in the amount that you need to use, Gina, is that what you mean? The specific number of that you use? They don't. It depends on your grid design, if that's what you mean, as to how many crystals you'll place around. So with this, it's this grid design is a 6-pointed star. So I'm using 6 of each of the desire and waystones. Only ever using 1 focus stone. Okay, does that make sense? My crystal, yeah, a day would be good probably. I've got a lot. So I'm going to place the stones that I've chosen around the grid, and I'll start again at the point, and these go on the outer of your grid. So you've got your focus stone, your way stones, and then your desire stones. Okay, and I'll use again, I'll rotate, so 1 from Kythera, 1 from Coochiemudlo, and just place them around the grid. And again, when you're placing them, you'll be stating that intention again so that it's nice and clear with every crystal that you're placing down. Okay. So that's the crystal layout. Now I could, if I wanted, place some some black crystals around the outside of the grid, just for a bit of extra protection. I'm actually not going to. I don't want to, because that's not really the purpose of the grid. And so the last thing that you're going to do now is to activate your grid. Now you can either do this. I'm not going to actually stand in the middle of it to activate it. I'm going to stand on the outside and activate it, and then hop in. Only because it's on my coffee table and I'll probably fall off and break my neck. So to activate it, I might use the bigger one so you can actually see it. I would start from my focus stone, stating that in the intention that I want to receive, and then I'd work my way out to the top of the star, to the waystone, stating my intention, back to the desire stone, and then I'd go out. I'd probably go clockwise, so I want to bring it in to the waystone and then to the desire stone, and so it's touching each one, and it's activating your intention. Sorry, that one. To there, and then back out to the point. Touching it and coming back. And down to the bottom point. And then you just do that all the way around to your grid to connect and activate each one. Oh God, I can't even find it. Just like that. Okay. Now I know you can't really see that very well on this, so next time I'll get a plain cloth. I'm just going to sit you back up here. Hold on. I'll set it up in a minute and take a photo and put it in the talk, but in the video as well. And when I'm sitting in the grid, the waystone I'd actually put in between my legs if I'm sitting cross-legged, so that it's actually in the middle of you, sort of, and that energy flow can work its way up and down your body. All right. Oh, good, Janet. So did I answer that? Got to remember the bloody question now. Yeah, it depends on what grid design you're actually setting up, as to how many crystals that you might use. Okay. Sorry, you never heard of that part? Do you mean the activation, Sherry? Oh, good. Thank you, Gina. Is that the part you hadn't heard of, or? And once it's activated, you just sit in it and you just reap its energy. Yeah. I guess you don't have to, but I think it's kind of an important part, because you're touching each crystal, you're making that energy interact. So it can only sort of make it stronger. Okay, what have I got next? Now my computer's turned off. So that's a pretty basic, and I mean, you do for your waystones. Sorry, not your waystones. Your desire stones, where I've used the rocks that I collected. You could use ones that match your chakra points. Or specifically the ones that are that you're specifically having trouble with, that seem to be more blocked than the others. And that's where the colour knowledge comes into it. Choosing the colour of your crystal and matching the colour and the properties and the energies with that intention. Am I making sense? Okay. So next month, I'm going to finish now. Before I do, I'm going to say next month we're going to set up 4 grids together, okay? The first one I've already chosen. Well, I haven't actually picked the grid design yet, but I've picked the intention and the crystals. The intention for the first grid we'll make together. Sorry, hold on a minute. If for physical reasons you couldn't sit in the grid. Yeah, put a photo of yourself in it. Yep, definitely. You can definitely do that. You could place it on your bed and lay in it. Place it under your bed, or place it somewhere. Place it around your lounge chair if you can access the sides and the back and front, or sit in a normal chair and like a dining room chair, if you can sit in one of those for a little while and place it around the chair and sit in that with the focus stone in the middle of your lap. Yeah, does that make sense? Well, I don't have had a crystal guru. I do love them, but they're definitely a passion of mine. Okay, cool. Yeah. Because, yeah, like I said, you don't actually have to sit on the floor. I'm a floor dweller. Part of being a junior primary or early childhood teacher for 25 years. I spent a lot of time on it with kids. All right, so next month, yeah. Oh, thank you, Sherry. What am I talking about? The grid. Next month. The first grid we're going to make together. It will... Let me just find my bloody notes. All right, so our focus will be to clear any negative energies from our house, okay? That's our intention, our focus, our goal, whatever you want to call it. To clear any negative energies from our house, okay? We're going to be using... We will need 13 crystals for that one, plus your wand or your quartz point to activate it. So the crystals you will need, and it's if you want to try this, you'll need to try and gather them if you don't have them. You'll need 1 black kyanite. Okay. 1 black kyanite. And that'll be your focus stone. You're going to have 6 black obsidian. They don't have to be arrowheads. They can be whatever you have. And I'll actually use a mixture because I don't have 6 of these, and I don't have 6 of these, and I don't have 6 of these. The style of crystal that black obsidian crystal that I'll use will probably differ, but it doesn't matter. So 1 black kyanite, 6 black obsidian, and 6. Let me just put those down. 6 green fluorite are the next ones. And again, doesn't matter what. I mean, if you've got polished, raw, it doesn't matter. Oh, good catch. Okay, that kind of looks clear, but it's actually got the green tinge all the way through it. So that's what you need. If you get them by the next month, we'll be able to set up that grid together. Have a go at trying the Star of David, the healing grid. And if you don't want to sit in it, like I said, you can just set it up on a table or somewhere where it's not going to be disturbed. But if you can, try sitting in it. It's actually amazing. All right. Okay, so are there any questions? Oh, one more thing before I go. The 3 other grids. Give me some intentions, girls, and we'll set up 3 grids according to some of the specific intentions that you want. Write them in this live, and I'll we'll try and pick 3, and I'll match crystals and stuff to go with it, and let you know before we do the live, so that if you want to do it, make it with it. Like on that day, you've got the crystals that you'll need. All right. Is there any questions? All right. Okay. Cool. Yep, Cherry, we can work on that. Is there any particular reason you want an abundance of money? Like, is it for a specific thing that you want, or you just want more to get you through the week, have some left over at the end of the week? So trying to be specific. Sorry to be a pain, but yeah, we need to be specific. All right. Oh, you're a gem. Thank you, my love. Cool. Yep. Awesome. All right. Well, I think we'll make that one. So it might be to pay, to have enough money to pay the bills, help our family, and have a little bit left over at the end of our paychecks or something like that. We'll tweak that. And if you want to write it and be specific, just feel free to message me, or we can use that chat, because I'm sure that it's got a chat with it. So we can use that, or just put them in this post. All right. All right, have a think about it. Please add some intentions that we can set grids for. Try the Star of David and have fun. All right. Blessed be, girls. See ya.